This presentation will review the purpose of a cover letter, design, details, and content. The purpose of a cover letter is to indicate your interest in a position and draw a connection between your skills and the employer's needs. It acts as a precursor to the resume itself, motivating the employer to want to read your resume. A resume is a more concise document which showcases qualifications, whereas a cover letter demonstrates interest in the position and convinces the employer that you are a good fit. The ultimate purpose is to get the employer's attention so they want to interview you. The basic design of a cover letter contains the following main components: your address at the top of the document, the date of the letter, name and title of employer preceding the company address, opening salutation. Try to find out the actual person to whom the letter should be directed. Avoid "Dear Sir, Madam," or "to whom it may concern," if possible. If this is not indicated in the job announcement, consider contacting the company's HR department to inquire as to whom the letter of interest should be addressed. If no particular person is identified, it is better to use "Dear Hiring Manager" or "Dear Hiring Committee." The letter should be adapted to the specific details of the job, which are identified in the job announcement. You should write a new cover letter for each job to which you are applying, as the requirements for each will be different. Open your letter with an idea that captures the interest of the employer, highlighting and drawing attention to points in your resume that uniquely qualify you. Close the letter with a request for an interview, and most importantly, check your spelling and grammar. Spell check does not always capture words that are grammatically incorrect. The spelling might be correct, but the context in which the word should be used might be incorrect. It is a good idea to ask someone else to review your letter before you send it. The content of a cover letter consists of three main components: the introduction, body, and closing. As mentioned on the previous slide, the introductory paragraph should open with something that captures the employer's interest. You may wish to share brief knowledge about what the company needs and why it is of interest to you. The body may consist of one or several paragraphs that will further connect your experiences and interests to the position. It is in these paragraphs that you can make a direct correlation between what the company seeks and what your resume contains. Providing specific examples of how you have utilized the skills they seek in your prior experiences further strengthens their confidence level in seeing you as a potential fit for their organization. The closing paragraph once again restates your goal and why it is of interest to you, asks the employer for an interview, provides information on how best to contact you, and thanks them for their consideration. End with a professional salutation such as "sincerely," "respectfully," or "kind regards," followed by 4 spaces to indicate that your handwritten signature would be inserted here, and finally your typed name at the bottom. Here is a sample heading for a cover letter. Notice the name of the person writing the letter is not included at the top of the page. This is because the name is already included in the signature line at the bottom. In this particular example, the name and title of the employer is known. If this were not the case, you would remove the name and title in this section and just list the company name, address, city, state, and zip code. Here is a sample introductory paragraph. Notice that the opening statement captures the employer's attention by indicating what qualities a successful advertising candidate must possess. The candidate then goes on to indicate how they will demonstrate these qualities as an indication of interest in applying to the position, and why they are interested in making application. In the next paragraph, the potential candidate indicates that a resume accompanies the letter and then goes into more detail about specific experiences listed on the resume that further indicate what makes them a good fit for this particular position. The next paragraph builds upon the transferable skills the candidate has acquired through past experiences and provides a confident statement as to how these qualities will benefit the employer. In the closing paragraph, the potential candidate once again mentions the qualifications outlined in prior paragraphs, requests an interview, and thanks the employer for taking the time to consider their application. Finally, a professional salutation followed by 4 spaces and the typed name of the candidate ends the letter. Follow-up on correspondence should be made in most circumstances. Here are some typical situations you may encounter when applying for a position. No reply. You should always make note of the date you submitted your application. Then mark your calendar for approximately 2 weeks from the date of application. If you did not receive a reply by that target date, it is perfectly acceptable to follow up with the employer to confirm the application was received and also to inquire as to the status of the position. This way, you will know if you're still being considered or if you should move on to the next opportunity. No opening at this time. This is typically an answer you receive when you are inquiring about potential opportunities apart from those that are posted. If you are told there are currently no openings, thank the person for their time and inquire about the possibility of future openings, stating you are still very interested in possible opportunities with that company. Along those lines, it is acceptable to call for an appointment as a follow-up to an application where no job is posted. You would also indicate this in the closing paragraph of your cover letter, giving a timeline as to when you would be following up. This gives the employer time to gather materials together to discuss with you, or may actually result in an immediate phone call from the employer to discuss the opportunity. It is generally a good idea never to leave the ball in the employer's court when you are inquiring about an interview for a position that does not yet exist. They might put your letter aside and never look at it again, as it doesn't hold priority for them. Meanwhile, you're left wondering whatever happened to your letter of inquiry. Instead, tell the employer how much you are interested in working for them, then give a date as to when you will follow up. Just be sure that you actually do what you say, otherwise you may seem unreliable in the employer's eyes. Stopping by is usually only done when you are seeking information about the company. You wouldn't just stop by and ask for an interview, as it is disrespectful of the employer's time. Instead, consider asking if there might be someone available to provide you with an informational interview, since you are intrigued by the company and would like more details about them. In most instances, they will find someone available to give you an overview of the organization. For examples of cover letters, please go to this hyperlink for access to the Penn State Career Guide. The Career Guide provides a wealth of information on preparing for your eventual career, including resumes, cover letters, interview tips, professional attire, career fair etiquette, grad school application, and more. Hard copies of the guide are also available in Career Services. This presentation provided a general overview of the components of a cover letter. However, it might not have addressed specific questions you may have, such as how to write a letter when someone has referred you to a company, or how to write a letter of interest for an organization that does not have an actual job opening posted. If you should have questions about this or any other career-related topic, we are happy to help. Just email Maureen Siliberto, Career Services Coordinator, with your question, or Karen Ford, Administrative Assistant, to schedule an appointment. This concludes the presentation on cover letters. Thank you for your time and attention.